Hello YouTube family. Today I wanted to post a video because I haven't posted in a while. Um, Last Saturday my dog Lucky died. She had a ruptured intestine and she only was 5 years old. I previously had surgeries done to her when she was a puppy, and there's a whole background story involved in this, but I'm not going to go into it in this video. But sad to say, she died very young, and I was very devastated. So I haven't posted in a while because of the circumstances. So please forgive me because I love my dogs, and this was truly heartbreaking. So I'm making this video to honor her memory, and I will move on from this topic in this video, but I just wanted to start off that video by paying my respects to my girl Lucky, who is, I still have her sister Lucy, and her half sister Bella, and their mom Bailey. So it was pretty devastating to me, and it happened in Saturday. My mom's birthday was August 29th. My mom passed away a few years ago, and so the conflicts of circumstances was very unpleasant. So I couldn't deal with all that and post videos. On a different topic, today's video will be about the two forms of noise you hear on social media. I feel that the landscape of social media on dog channels has gotten to be so noisy and so full of arguments and so full of crap that I think we need to step back and work through the noise because there is a lot of noise. So we're going to cover two topics, food and training. I think those topics are relevant for all dog owners who follow this channel or other channels. Um, you have two camps. You have the camp which believes in raw feeding only, or home cooked food only, or kibble only, or canned food only. And each camp will tell you that if you don't follow their model, your dog will be sick and will have disease. Like if you follow kibble, if you have a grain-free diet, your dog will die of a heart attack. Or your dog will have skin allergies if you have kibble. You have another channel group which will tell you if you don't feed raw, it will cause irreparable harm to your dog. I got news for you guys. None of this is true. Uh, None of the kibble on the market, and I'm not a fan of kibble. I'm a fan of cooking for my dogs, but I've given my dogs kibble in the past, and I've given them canned dog food in the past, and I've given them cooked food in the past, and I've given them raw food in the past. Uh, you've seen videos on my channel regarding various kinds of food. No food that is commercially available will hurt your dog, or it wouldn't be sold. Um, there are situations in the world where dogs live terrible lives, like, for example, in the Philippines or in Puerto Rico or in some African countries or some Arabic countries, where dogs roam the streets and they scavenge for food, and they essentially live as feral animals, and they survive on whatever scraps they can get out of the garbage. And I'm not suggesting you feed your dog garbage. Feed your dog the best food you can. Obviously, it's going to help their health. But what I'm saying is these extreme positions that if you don't feed this or you don't feed that, somehow your dog will die or be irreparably harmed. It's all a bunch of nonsense. Uh, there are foods which are better than others. There's premium kibble, there's premium dog food, there's cooking for your dog. Dogs are omnivores. They're primarily meat-based, but they do need carbs. Um, the dog will eat whatever you can eat, pretty much. And if you're following a specific methodology, let's say it's cooked food, or let's say it's raw food, or whatever the case, whatever you're following, as a practical matter, let's say you have to board your dog at a boarding kennel because you have to go on vacation. You can't expect the person taking care of your dog, whether it's another family member or an establishment, to cook for your dog the way you cook for your dog. They will give them something that is convenient for them. And so you're not going to let your dog go hungry while you're out on vacation. Your dog is being boarded someplace, right? So what you need to do is give your dog a lot of variety. So if you have to board your dog someplace, they can eat kibble if they have to, because your dog shouldn't have diarrhea because it never ate kibble in its life. Or your dog will have diarrhea because it never ate canned dog food in its life. Feed your dog the best quality food you can because it extends the dog's life. Um, don't be a purist. It doesn't make sense. Make your dog have a wide variety of food. And if you have to leave your dog on holiday by having them exposed to different kinds of food, you're making everyone's life easier, including yours. So don't be a purist, which will not follow common sense. You know what I mean? Yes, there are foods which are better for dogs, have higher percentage protein, lower percentage protein. There are better brands, there are weaker brands. You will see other videos on this channel where I go to Walmart and I look at various bags of dog food and I review some food. Those videos are coming. But as a general statement, um, do what makes sense. It's your dog. Now, should you feed your dog a proper diet? Of course you should. One word of caution is that if you give vitamin D, don't overdo it with vitamin D. That could poison a dog if it's in excessive amounts. Don't go crazy with vitamin D. Keep that on the low side. Don't go crazy with vitamin D. I do think you need to give your dog vitamins to supplement their diet, especially if you're giving raw or cooked home food. You would need to supplement with a vitamin. We use Nuvet here, and there are other videos I have on my channel regarding that excellent supplement. But in general, the better the food, the longer your dog will live. And of course, it's cheaper to buy good food than to pay for a vet visit. So use common sense. The other thing I wanted to add is on the internet, there are people out there who love to be what I call keyboard warriors. They're what I call Karens. And that applies to men and women, not just women. That they're very brave when it comes to arguing with somebody behind the keyboard and behind the anonymity of being behind the keyboard. And they will never dare say something to you to your face that they would be not afraid to say behind a computer. And that's a very sad world we live in, where instead of the dog community joining together for the love of dogs, people have an agenda and they would love to argue just to prove their point or to show how smart they are or knowledgeable they are. It's a waste of time to argue with somebody through a computer. But you should see some of the forums on Facebook or sometimes on YouTube, but primarily I've seen it on Facebook, where people argue back and forth with such vigor regarding a topic or a point of disagreement. What's the point, man? Uh, where people were brave were people of my grandmother's generation. My grandmother was born in Romania. For those who don't know, uh, Italy and Romania were fascist countries which were on the side of Nazi Germany in World War II. Part of Romania was annexed and became the Republic of Moldova. The Moldovans speak Romanian, for those who don't know. It was part of the former USSR. No longer it is, but Moldovans speak Romanian. and that part of Romania that was annexed after World War II because the Romanian armies worked together with the German armies in that period of history. My grandmother came to a bombed out city, no food, no buildings. The only food to eat was horse meat if you were going to eat it, or you could starve if to death, if that's what you want to do. She nursed her brother back to health, who came back from the front with 21 machine gun bullets uh, in his stomach. He was the only surviving brother she had, and her entire family was killed by the Nazis. Now that's bravery. That was life and death situation. Surviving after a terrible, destructive war, which killed 21 million Soviets and 500,000 Americans, and the whole world lost collectively of all the armies and civilian deaths combined. That war of World War II cost the world 45 million people. So that was something to be brave about. This fights on the internet about dog training and dog food. Give me a break, guys. This was the world's greatest generation, my grandparents' generation. And so those people did not fight about petty small things. They served their country honorably. They fought against Nazism and fascism, which was the scourge of humanity. And that were the brave people. Those were the heroes that I look up to. Those were brave men and women of their time. So come on, guys. This internet fighting over nonsense is petty, small stuff. We live in a time of peace and a time of prosperity. And let's keep it real, guys. Let's not go overboard about irrelevant small topics. Another topic I see covered often on dog videos is the fight between the so-called purely positive training and the what I call balance training, which is correction training and positive reinforcement training combined, called balance training. What do I have to say about that? Um, there's a movement in the dog world to ban all tools, um, prong collars, um, e-collars, um, any kind of adversive tool. Now the reality is that there's no single way to train a dog. Um, I believe in combining methods, both positive reinforcement and negative reinforcement. And you have to also train the dog in front of you. If you're training a large bull mastiff, it has a different temperament than a highly motivated Malinois or German Shepherd. There's also the difference between training for obedience and dog sports versus training for household manners and or not having aggression or not counter surfing or having proper manners in the house. So there's obedience training and there's proper social skills in a household. Those are two different things. Now, the people who are advocate the so-called purely positive training methods, they're not just a fan of a specific school of thought where they advocate for dogs. They want all tools banned and they want all methods banned except their way. It's either their way or the highway. And they're very vocal and they're very aggressive. And it's almost like a political movement. And it's almost like there's a certain zealousness I see in them, which is beyond um, what is required. Pretty soon in dog sports, that we have now banned stick hits in the IGP3. The helper used to test the bravery of a dog because in a fight against an aggressive opponent, uh, the opponent will fight back. You have to have a dog which can withstand um, such an opponent, and you're not doing it to hurt the dog, but you don't want the dog to come off the bite in dog sports on a bite sleeve. I'm gonna, I usually don't use profanity, but I'm gonna use it because it makes a point more strongly than otherwise it would. We're leading to the pussification of dogs. We don't want pussies in our protection dogs. I'm sorry if I sound a little crude. but I think it drives the point much more aggressively than any other way of saying it. So forgive me, but that is what I'm trying to say. Um, Society is not meant to be run by weaklings, and training dogs, and especially large aggressive breeds, shouldn't be done by weaklings either. Now, the biggest thing a dog will face in its life is neglect. That is abusive in a dog. A dog that lives outside in a chain in the hot sun without proper protection from heat or cold weather, that's neglect. That's abuse. A dog which is never given affection, that's abuse. A dog which is starved, that's abuse. Using a correction-based approach to stop an aggressive dog lunging against a person or a child or against another dog, that's not abuse. That's correcting an animal for misbehaving. And if you don't correct in that moment and you stop it right there and then somebody will get bit and somebody will get hurt. So a correction-based approach where you have either dominance or aggression being shown is very appropriate, in fact. In fact, human beings face stress in their life and animals face stress in their lives. There's no such thing as a stress-free environment of any kind in a dog or, for that matter, a person. We face stress in our lives and we have to deal with stress as part of being alive. We feed the dogs, we provide them the best veterinary care, we provide them love, housing, love. They are our partners and they are our friends. If people who love animals didn't love animals, then there would be no topic to talk about. This channel is from an animal lover, and therefore I have an opinion about this. Now, I train dogs myself. Training a dog is not sexy. A lot of times you will see videos where a dog is looking up at its owner and it's doing a heel and it's prancing and it's very powerful and it's a very good looking video. Lately, people have ADD when they watch YouTube or anything else for that matter. They want to have a 10 quick second hit to be entertained and they move on to the next video by scrolling to their phone. But that's not how training a dog works. Training a dog works by, let's say, teaching the sit stay. After you taught the dog to sit on command, I use platforms because it makes it very clear to a dog what you want. You then back away from the dog, maybe 3 feet, return, feed, do it for 3 seconds. Return, feed, do it for 3 seconds. In the next training session, you might do it for 10 seconds and then for 12 seconds and 15 seconds. So you're maintaining a short distance, but you're increasing the time. And then in a subsequent situation, you'll increase the distance from 3 feet to, let's say, 4 feet, but you'll cut the time from 10 seconds back to 3 seconds. In other words, you either increase duration but not distance, or you increase distance but not duration. And through repetition, the dog will learn the sit stay command or the down command or the place command. This repeat of a behavior, the stand, the sit, the down, over and over until the dog knows to generalize the behavior in multiple locations and under all circumstances, even under distraction, that's not sexy to watch on YouTube. That's slow, methodical approach of repeating a behavior over and over where the animal learns through repetition and through a history of positive reinforcement that it has good feelings in carrying out a behavior and therefore learns the behavior because the behavior that's reinforced will be repeated. Now, that's not sexy to watch as you watch a trainer training a sit stay or a down stay. It looks boring, but that's how it's accomplished. Um, so a lot of these videos you see of a highly trained dog, you might be seeing a 10-minute or 1-minute video clip, but that behavior could have taken 6 months to a year to accomplish. A focused heel where the dog is looking at your face takes at least a year to teach. But you're seeing a 2-second, 10-second video clip and you think, oh, my dog can do that. It's a concentrated effort to teach a dog that exercise that way over time. So most dog training is not sexy. Most dog training is repetition, 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 repetition. And people are expecting miracles When they go to a dog trainer, they can come maybe one or two times and they think their problem is solved. It's not like giving an algebra lesson to a child. I've taught math in my life. Uh, have a science background, so I've taught, uh, I've tutored privately, uh, trigonometry, algebra, Calc 1, Calc 2, and I've taught high school and college students math. Now, when you're giving a human being a 45-minute lesson, that's a human being. It takes a human level of intelligence to explain something in 45 minutes. And even then, you have to show it a couple of times. With an animal, which has animal level of intelligence, you can't expect those results that quickly. So you have to repeat until the animal gets the idea. And animals actually learn very quickly. What I'm saying is, don't watch videos expecting a perfect dog, showing a perfect obedience in every video. The videos are becoming slick, they're becoming polished, they look attractive to the viewer, but you're seeing the end result after months and months of work. You're not seeing all the drudgery of going through that training and learning curve that took place until that result was achieved. Now, the point of the pure positive movement is they have an agenda. They want to see other training methods that they don't agree with banned. In my opinion, the world is a richer place by having a variety of methods available to the dog public and not simply having a single method, or if you don't do it my way, you're an abuser of animals. Nothing can be further from the truth. An animal can be abused in any way. Let's say somebody smacks the dog. There was no prong collar involved and there was no e-collar involved, but they smacked the dog. Now, is that abuse? I think smacking a dog is abuse. Really hard smacking. That's abusive. Now, was any tool involved? No, the person did it with their hand. So that animal lives in fear because it has a bully for an owner. Now, that owner is a bully whether or not additional tools were available or not. That person does not deserve having a dog who likes to feel macho by smacking dogs around. That's not the behavior you want in a trainer, or for that matter, an owner. So there are a lot of irresponsible people who probably shouldn't have dogs. There are people who get dogs which they can't handle. Their dogs' drive level and intelligence levels beyond their training ability. That breed is not suitable for them. That should have been something that they should have walked through prior to buying that particular breed if they don't have experience. Some breeds are not suitable for first-time owners. All these conversations should be had before acquiring an animal into your life, because once you acquire an animal, it's a 12 to 14-year commitment for the most part. So before you get a dog, think about it. They don't ask to come into your life. You bring them into your life. They don't ask to come into your life. So make that decision wisely. In sum, in watching dog related content on YouTube or Facebook or wherever you watch your favorite social media, everybody in social media thinks they're an expert. And they think I'm an old timer, I'm 57. So they say things to me. Don't listen. You old man, you don't know what you're talking about. Listen, if they talk to me that way face to face, I don't think they would say that to me face to face that particular way. But on social media, they get very brave and very brazen. And I think it's not appropriate. Now, all of a sudden, everybody has access to social media and everybody thinks they're an expert. And they become a keyboard warrior and they attack each other. In these various Facebook groups, I saw people being very rude to each other. And I think it's unnecessary. It really is. And I think people can use these platforms in a positive way and in a constructive way. So I hope you appreciate this point of view. Leave a comment below if you agree with me. The main point of the video is there shouldn't be extremes, either in food or training methods. There's a spectrum of right and wrong. Nothing is absolute. Nothing is absolutely right or absolutely wrong. Uh, you have to use good judgment and turn to people who will speak to you with solid advice, with experience. Anybody can call themselves a dog trainer. And You don't have to have a college degree to be a dog trainer. You don't have to have a certificate to be a dog trainer. Anybody can call themselves a dog trainer. Now, most people who participate in training dogs usually have titled their dogs to some degree, and they showed their knowledge by titling a dog, or they work with people who have titled dogs and they are learning from those people. But not everybody is an instant expert, so be careful who you listen to. There are some very reputable voices in the dog community, voices I respect. There are some people who are extremists in the dog training community. I would say Zach George is an extremist. I'm calling him out by name. He is calling it science, where correction-based training is scientifically proven to be wrong. Listen, my friend, I was a science major. I have a degree in physics and engineering. So if anybody knows science, I know science. And science doesn't study dog training. Um, Science studies physics, mathematics, calculus, chemistry, biochemistry, chemical engineering. That's science. Training an animal is not something scientists do. Dog trainers train dog, not scientists. So all these arguments using these quasi terms, scientific methods and all that, that's all BS. He's trying to disguise his political agenda by using the word science. I've studied science. There is not the arguments that he's making are not valid because they're pre-made studies which have an outcome they already want to prove. Well, that's not a double-blind experiment. In a double-blind experiment, you don't want to have an outcome you can predict as the outcome you were trying to study. You don't know the outcome and you're trying to determine the outcome. That's science. It's called the scientific method for those who don't know. In any event, I hope you found this content useful. I post puppy announcement, litter announcements. We have a litter coming up soon. A video forthcoming on that. Um, Let me know what you think about these topics: food, training, as well as the extreme arguments I'm seeing on social media. When we had the world in danger at the end of during World War II and after World War II, that was something to think about and argue about. Now we live in a time of peace, so we don't need. And the phone is ringing. We don't need such arguments uh, in our lives. So please comment below, and I look forward to hearing from you.